Good Tuesday evening, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Pins on Campus, where Jonathan and I are going to talk college bowling and anything else that we want to talk about. Jonathan, it is good to be back.
It is. It's been a couple weeks.
Like 3 weeks.
We've been a little busy.
We're still bowling, man.
You guys are. Yeah, we'll get into that. But, man, the last couple weeks, jam-packed of stuff. You moved. Nice little studio setup you got behind you now. Everything looks great.
Yeah. Now, before we went live, I asked you about the jersey that's over my shoulder, and you didn't know at the time. But that is an authentic Hanson Brothers Charlestown Chiefs jersey. Not thrown together, actual one of the jerseys that was used in the filming of that movie with Paul Newman.
That you paid an undisclosed amount for.
I paid very little for that, Jonathan. I've got my skates. Hung those up a long time ago. And where are they at? I even had the first pair of hockey skates I ever had in my life.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, check this out. I got to show them to you. Hang on a minute.
Uh-oh. Mark's fishing.
These are classics. Hang on, I didn't mean to do that. Look at these. Original Bowers.
Oh, there you go.
Look how small those things are. What size? I don't even remember what size they were. They were like.
Look at how good a shape they're in, though.
I know.
They don't make them like that anymore, Mark.
No.
That's when everything was real leather.
The Bauer Huggers.
Those are awesome. That's old school right there. Mark's showing his age now.
Oh, everybody knows I'm old. All right. We got a ton to talk about, but no, it was cool. The move went flawless. I'm too old to be moving hundreds of boxes, but I'm glad to be located where I am today and not too far from the bowling center. And we had a great practice today. Monday was a little dicey, and we punched out some new equipment today, gave it a run on a 2.29 to 1 ratio pattern, a little bit longer. But everything that we've bowled on, Jonathan, since we earned a spot in nationals has been very challenging, to say the least.
That's what you need.
Probably the right thing to do. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. We'd be doing the same thing if we were in your shoes. I'm
not throwing China out there, although two events that we will get into here in a little bit, both the Masters and the last PBA event where you could average 232 and not get a check, I believe, is what that number was. Mm-hmm. Insane. And also a fact, you had 3 Wichita State graduates finish in the top 3. Am I correct on that one?
You're right.
So we're gonna get into a little bit of the transition from the college game to the PBA platform with one of our favorite guests on the show. We're talking about Joshua Atkinson. The stat man's going to come on, and he has some valuable statistical insight on a question that was posed. How many collegiate players go on to have success in the PBA Tour? How many All-Americans have success on the PBA Tour? So, very interesting. We'll have him on here in a few minutes and dive into the great statistical data that he has put together. The other thing that I did, Jonathan, I went to Michigan for a nice little 3-day trip. Mm-hmm. And Brian Graham, the number one guy over on the sales and marketing position at Brunswick, gave me a tour of the facility. Fascinating to see. That building has been there forever. But the transition that building has went through over the years and what they currently have at that facility, the testing, the string pins that they test. They have this one machine. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and keeps going. See if they can find any flaws in the string pins. A ton of Brunswick oiling machines. The wall, I just called it the wall, where they had products from the past, products from the present, and products in the future displayed. And just a fascinating trip to the Brunswick HQ in Michigan. So we are going to be working toward some stuff in the future, fingers crossed, with Brunswick when it comes to the CBAA. And as those items progress, we will keep everybody informed. But a very, very positive visit with Brian, and I'm excited about what we're working on, man.
Yeah, cool stuff happening behind the scenes, and like Mark said, we'll put stuff out on social media as they concrete, but you got to peek behind the curtain. That's always cool. Always fun to look a little deeper into the business side of what's happening in the bowling industry, because there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah,
these companies are doing a lot of stuff, a lot of research, a lot of testing. Obviously, there's a lot of research and development on the new products, and every time you get a little peek at what's going on, it's fascinating. You know, we practice at the ITRC. We don't always get the peek of what's going on for sure, but you know, we do get to see and ask, "Hey, what are you guys working on right now?" And there's always something fascinating that's advancing the game that exists behind the scenes, and you're just waiting for it eventually for it to be announced.
All right, now you still have some stuff going on. You've been practicing a little bit, right? With your team?
Yeah, I've actually put the shoes on recently.
Oh,
and I've been throwing some bowling balls with them. I leave on Saturday for Reno to go bowl the Open Championships out there. So
I heard they're soft.
Prepare for that. Oh, compared to last year, yeah. I think they did that on purpose this year. After it was a little difficult last year, but Mark, you could testify to this. During our season, it's hard for us to get any time on the lanes for ourselves, especially with practice. Now we're of course going to bowl the occasional tournament here and there. We're going to bowl league, but it's very hard for us in our schedules to find time to actually diligently practice. And so for the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to set aside at least one day in a week to go for a couple hours and work on a little bit of the game. So I'm not out to lunch when I get to Reno to bowl on Monday and Tuesday, but I think we're going to be in okay shape. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. I'm going to show you this. Look at this.
Look at that.
That is my right-hand man at tournaments, Mr. Jack Poor.
That's right.
And he's just rubbing it in. He's down catching an 8.5-pound largemouth. All right. Just rubbing it in, sending me pictures. Look at that. Smallmouth. But Jack is definitely going to be with us when we make the trip to Wisconsin. We leave on Saturday morning, 6 a.m. We're going to break it up, stop in Iowa, spend the night in Iowa, and then finish the trip on Sunday morning. Very cool, staying at an Airbnb right next to Lambeau Field.
That'd be awesome.
And hopefully, cool. I'm hoping, because who knows if you're ever going to make it back. Hopefully that's the plan, but we would like to get in a tour of Lambeau Field. Have you ever done that, Jonathan? Have you ever been to Lambeau?
As a Vikings fan, I try to stay out of Lambeau Field.
It's still iconic.
It is.
It
was funny. My assistant coach, Mike, gave me a lot of crap this last year. Obviously, Junior Gold was there in July, and the Expo Center where they had the collegiate trade show was right across the street. And we could see Lambeau Field from the windows of the Expo Center. And Mike kept saying, "Oh, Jonathan's too close to Lambeau Field. He can't wear that purple around here." We kept talking all this game. He's a Broncos fan. So, it is what it is. But, next time I'm back in the area, I probably will do the tour. A couple of buddies of mine did do the tour while they were there, and they said it was really cool. So, maybe next time I'm up there.
We'll see what happens. The other big news for our program, Brandon Handog qualified for the singles championship. So we have him bowling on Monday and Tuesday, and then we get after it on Wednesday. The entire team is going to be there to support him. So greatly appreciate the support from our athletic department to make this much easier for us to make the trip to Green Bay, and very excited to see what happens. All right. I want to pick your brain for a couple of things, and then we'll bring in our guest, Joshua. I see he's backstage, so we'll bring him in here in a minute. You say higher or lower to the questions that I ask you. Okay. Ratio for the pattern for the team championship. 2.2. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mills. 32 mils.
Yeah, I think you're pretty close. I'm going to go higher.
Okay. I kind of agree with you on that. Length. 42 feet.
Hey, you got the good lines, Mark. You're like Vegas, the sports book over here.
I know.
I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go like 43, 44 probably. Not too much higher, a little bit higher.
All right. And we have practiced on everything from 45 to 38, but we have not practiced on anything greater than 2.6. I think is the highest ratio.
Yeah.
That we have
I think you're going to be, I think you're in the right ranges there.
Yeah. Scoreable, but definitely have to make good shots. It'll be interesting to see how teams break it down, because you're not going to have what typically we have to deal with as far as the crosses normally in tier ones and also in tier twos, on how each of the teams decide to break down each pair as you move. The other thing is, give me your take on strategy during practice, because you're probably not going to see, obviously, the same transition during practice that you're going to see during the tournament. I mean, you could see a glimmer of what you're experiencing during the official hour practice time.
Yeah.
But I think it's just getting familiar with the panels, getting familiar with the approaches, the setting, the atmosphere, to where you feel comfortable. Now, I've always said, who wants to lose to the unranked team? The team that's not ranked in the top 20. I don't think anybody does. Agree with that statement?
I agree. Yeah.
So our motivation is, nobody expects us to win, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that practice session's interesting because there's only so much you can take from that, especially it only being 1 hour. But like you're saying, it's a good opportunity to get familiar with the center, the approaches, the sight lines, what targeting looks like, especially I don't know if they're going to have they have the LED masking units at the center.
Right.
Don't know if they're going to have it illuminated with all the graphics, but you can kind of scope out from different banks of lanes in the center what the sight lines look like from how that reflects on the lane. Because at City View, we deal with the same thing. It does make a difference. Yeah. You can scope out a few topography things, especially if you send some guys to the low end, some to the high end. We had the opportunity when we went to that Georgia tournament this last year. It's the only tournament we went to all year where we had a practice day the day before, and they didn't even have the pattern out for us. But we got to send guys to the different ends of the bowling center just to see how different they actually played, and that ended up being valuable for us. So there are certain things you can take out of that hour session. Of course, you're not going to simulate transition or breakdown or anything like that, but it's just good to get everybody a nice, comfortable baseline for that center.
Absolutely. All right. And I do want to mention, we're going to bring, obviously, what I stated prior, that we're going to bring Joshua in here in a minute, but I tried to get his former coach on the show at Belmont Abbey, because they are making their first appearance at Nationals also, along with Spring Harbor. And I didn't go back and check whether Wisconsin, Marian, Wisconsin, if that is their first trip or not. Maybe Joshua will know. But I know
maybe
for
it
sure,
does. He will.
Yeah. I know for sure at least three teams making their first appearance. And then we're all surrounded by blue bloods. It is
Wow.
a blue blood festival at Nashville for sure.
Part of the gig.
So, hey, I understand, but at the same time, it's that experience from being in Green Bay for the first time and being at this event at the first time. I do want to mention too, there's been a coach that has really helped me out a ton, and that's Coach Hayes. And a big shout out. I know he's watching tonight, and I want to extend a big thank you to Coach Hayes. He's been there twice, is he not, Jonathan? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Maybe 3 times. Once with the girls. Did he make it with the girls one time? Maybe he can answer that. I know he's been there at least twice, but he has given me some insight. Being the rookie, being the coach that has not experienced what we are getting ready to go through starting on Monday. So a big shout out to Coach Hayes.
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
So it is fabulous to get someone's take that has been through it before and move on to hopefully have a good event that week. So big thank you to Coach Hayes. All right, man. Anything else you want to talk about before we bring Joshua in?
Are we going to get into sectionals now, or are we going to do that after?
No, we can do it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't take long. I know for both of us, we had a long 3 days. The results looked a little different on both ends of our programs, but I thought this year, from my experience, both from the times I've bowled it, and this is the first time I had the opportunity to coach the team portion, I thought what you said earlier about the pattern we're talking about for nationals, but
yeah,
I kind of think the same way about the pattern for sectionals. It was scoreable, but you had to make shots.
Yeah.
I think it was more scoreable than things we may have seen in the past. But shot making was still king, right? And that's kind of what you want in that environment, because you want to take the four teams that could make the best shots over 64 Baker games, which is a grind, which our team found out. we were pretty good through 40. And then, I had all 6 on that roster had never bowled, or all 8 on my roster had never bowled team sectionals before. They had never been through the 64 Baker games.
Yeah.
And so, and 6 of them were freshmen. And so you take that, into account. They realized that I was not lying to them when I said this is going to be difficult. It's going to be a very long weekend. It's going to be mentally exhausting. They figured out that I was telling the truth after about the 40 games. And then, you could just tell. We just ran out of gas. But until that point, I thought we were performing very well. We even had Noah on Friday make a run at singles. He was right behind Brandon.
Yeah.
Going to that last game. They were actually bowling right next to each other, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because they both had a shot going in. I think Noah missed by 12 or 14 pins or something like that. But as far as our sectionals weekend went, and I was battling illness through that weekend as well, so I wasn't at 100%. So that was another wrench into the weekend. It went. But we got to celebrate with you guys. And I think that was really cool that we – I told our guys we want to stay around and celebrate what SNU accomplished. I know you guys appreciated it.
Oh, it was awesome.
And it was pretty cool to see.
It really was. And you mentioned Noah. And one of the coolest things of the weekend was when Brandon and Noah were battling for one of those 4 spots, all their teammates, if they weren't bowling or even if they completed their block, they were all standing behind both Noah and Brandon, really, really pushing for them to make it. So very, very cool.
Especially the culture that our teams have. They're there to support each other, but they're also, cheering for each of the other program as well. Just kind of the relationship that our players have with each other, which is something we've established through these matches. And it's just cool that carries over into the other world as well, into that environment. And it was fun to celebrate you guys. It was kind of fun to also celebrate us doing it for the first time, which, it's the first of many, hopefully, and a learning opportunity for us. But we're going to be cheering you guys on in Green Bay for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to have the Bowl TV stream up in the office every day, and we'll be checking in on the progress.
Very nice. This is something that I'm going to point out that kind of sets the tone for this group that I have. All right, let me throw this up there. All right, this was after 16 games, and we were sitting in 9th place after 16 games, but after 12, we were dead last. Dead last. All right, and we made a charge, but when you look at the first 155, 166, 222, 158, 171, 178, 196, 227, 214, 173, 191, 191. And then we went on a tear. All right. We're sitting in dead last. And we had a conversation, and you might have seen that conversation where I gathered everybody up, and we went 216, 216, 235, 279 to close out the session to move up tonight. And that is the resilience that was not there at the beginning of the year, Jonathan. It just wasn't there. They had to learn how to bounce back. They had to learn from failure, because we were not successful those first 12 games. And many people that look at the standings, they always look at the last sheet of games, whatever it is, 40 through 64.
Yeah.
And they see where the standings ended up, and they don't look at the previous sheets. We were in dead last after 12 games.
The final results don't paint the whole picture.
They do not.
It's like what I want to do, and I might go back and do this for our weekend, and if I do it, I'll do it for yours too. I just want to see a line graph from every 4-game set, where you bounced up and down to, because, for us, where we ended up, obviously people have seen that, doesn't tell the picture, the whole story of our weekend, right? Because after Saturday, we were sitting in 10th place, 100 pins out, and we were feeling pretty good about things, right? Obviously, it didn't end up that well, but like you said, for you guys, you had to battle some adversity, and it tells a bigger story than just, hey, we made the cut, which I think it's more fascinating to think about the nuts and bolts of the weekend and what actually came out of having to dig deep and find a little bit extra when you had to have it, because that's how you get out of that tournament.
Are you a routine guy?
Got to dig out.
Like, do you do the same thing for the most part? Like after that first block, we went to McDonald's. Okay. So what do you think we did after the first block on day 2?
Went to
McDonald's. All right. It's rinse and repeat.
I will say, for lunch both days, we did order Chipotle and had a parent bring it back to us, and we chowed down in the parking lot. So maybe a little bit of routine. Maybe we should have shook it up. Maybe that was part of the issue. I don't know. But the difference, I think, is because after day 1, our programs, we weren't separated by much. Yeah. But you guys were able to dig a little deeper, find that little extra motivation, and beat exhaustion and just make it happen, right? And we just weren't able to, and that's kind of how the story ended up. But that shows you what it takes to make it through all 64 Baker games.
It's a lot of games.
Because cutting 4 out of 20, that's a tough cut. So you gotta step up to the plate.
It's a lot of games. All right. It's going to be really interesting to see. And I'm going to ask Joshua this question. So I'll cue it up for him, and maybe he'll have the answer when we bring him in. But I don't believe in recent years that there has been a team that is not in the coaches poll top 20 to make it to nationals. Now, I could be wrong, but dude, we're not even close. I don't even think people know who we are, to be quite honest.
You look at the bottom, maybe you got 1 vote.
So I don't know. So the mindset that has been developed with this group is nobody cares about us. We're out to make history. We're going to shock the world, and we're going to let them know what this program's about. Because nobody wants to lose to the guy that is not ranked, that, quite frankly, maybe doesn't even belong here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I mean, I could tell you I haven't thought about that much because the coach's poll email comes in and I just move it to the completed folder immediately. Same thing when it comes to the coach of the year poll, because we all know that's crap. But
it's
a whole other conversation.
It's interesting how they do it. I just, it is what it is. I guarantee you,
we don't have our own Associated Press. So
hey, when we get the CBAA program going here, there will be a defined statistical along with a story told for who wins Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year. There's more to it than just looking at one form and going, oh, okay, well, they're 20th in the nation or whatever. There's more to it. It's
like picking the Heisman. Are you just going to pick the guy that has the most yards?
There is so much more to the stories that these student athletes have went through than just looking at who is number 3 in the country or whatever.
Just go down the average list. That's good.
You can't, and maybe Joshua will agree or disagree with me. You can't have winners of year-end awards based purely on one stat.
Especially average, because we've talked about how that's not a true representation.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I agree.
And quite honestly, I mean, narrow it down to 10 Player of the Years and then actually do research and provide content on those 10 players.
Because you can't tell me a single coach if an association called and said, hey, your player is nominated for Player of the Year. Can you give us a brief rundown on that player's season, what they've accomplished? Every coach would, how much time you got? You got 15, 20 minutes? I'll give you a rundown. And that would help paint such a complete story. And then how many ADs could you call too, asking about the coaches? Same thing. Talk to us about the coaching staff. What have they done this year? And I think you would have a little bit better representation and cooler stories. And then I think about the marketability of those stories as well. We talked previously in the show about there's a failure to market both professional and collegiate bowling at a high level.
Yeah.
And think about the opportunity, almost like an ESPN 30 for 30 take that you could have on Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, if that due diligence was being done.
I agree. And I will be interested to hear Joshua's take on that. I just think that there are a lot of players that have achieved things that in certain pockets of the country, you don't really know what the story is. Yeah. You know what his stats are or her stats, but you don't really know the story. There's more to postseason awards than just statistical data. Agree or disagree?
I agree.
All right. We'll get his take on that. All right. Last question, and then we'll roll Joshua in. Did you like the Score Fest last week at the tour stop?
I didn't mind it because we've had a balance this year. We've had tournaments that have been high scoring. We have tournaments that have been kind of a grind. We've had the in-between. It's variety. I don't mind variety. It rewards different players. Like different players have the ability to strike a 10. Okay, this is their week. You got the U.S. Open Masters where that's not going to happen as much. And, that's better for other players, nor for your finesse guys. And so I was shocked after the first block because I have a TV in my office. Usually I have Bowl TV up, and I saw the squad just ended. So I went and pulled up the score sheet. Yeah. And I was like looking for the cut line, and I'm sitting in like the 240s. I'm like, there's no way that line's on there correctly. And I just keep scrolling down. I'm like, nope, that line's in the right spot. It's 245. Okay. Cut line.
All right. I'm going to throw something out at you, and you tell me if you agree or disagree, and then we'll go to Joshua. If EJ Tackett does not win a title in the World Series or this weekend or next weekend, or win the Tournament of Champions, and Spencer Robarge wins a title in the World Series of bowling, could Spencer Robarge be Player of the Year?
Possible, but I don't think so.
I'm going to disagree with you. You know why? I think he's going to win an event at the World Series. And think about it. He's got a top 5 finish in the Players Championship. He's got a title already. I know he had 1 or 2 tournaments that weren't that great. But if he makes the show this week in New York and he wins a World Series of bowling title, I think he should have major consideration for Player of the Year.
Do you think him winning last week took the top off, and now he's just going to go on a run.
I think he quite possibly might be the best lefty out there. And I know Jesper is, he's that guy. He's been the guy. I know everybody's talking about the guy from Canada, and he's had a great year so far. But I just think there are so many things that Spencer can overcome because of his versatility. I'm just throwing that out there. Once again, how many years has it been since a rookie has won Player of the Year?
Couldn't tell you.
Maybe Joshua could. Let's bring him in.
What's
up, Joshua?
Hey, fellas. How we doing?
Hey, all kinds of stuff going on. Do you know that question? We're gonna rapid fire, man.
I don't think a rookie has won Player of the Year. They usually win Rookie of the Year. To your point about Spencer, with how the voting is, unless he wins a major, he's probably not going to win Player of the Year.
What if he wins the Tournament of Champions?
Then he would be the first 2-time winner this year.
Yeah.
So he'd probably be a front runner. But yeah, he'd have to win a major in order to be Player of the Year.
So Spencer's currently 7th on the points list. And so here are the names in front of him. So these are the guys you have to deal with.
Okay.
EJ, obviously you talked about EJ. He's still 1.
Yeah.
Boog is 2nd. Graham Foss 3rd. Simo's 4th. Bonta's 5th. Dombrowski's 6th.
Simonson's not going to make the cut this week. I don't know if you saw the scores.
No, I did.
He did not bowl well.
I think if Simonson gets either the World Championship or the TOC, they're going to give him Player of the Year.
Okay.
That's right.
I could see that. But how cool is it that theoretically and really realistically right now, we could have a collegiate player in the right, and don't forget about Brandon Bonnet, but I think Spencer is the best case scenario for a collegiate player, a rookie, former collegiate player, to have an opportunity to win Player of the Year. Agree?
I agree. I mean, that shows some real representation on the collegiate game.
Now, here's the question, Mark, and I don't know the rule. Is it a rule that you can only win Player of the Year if you win a title in that season?
In that season, yeah.
So
EJ won has a title.
EJ hasn't won this year.
EJ hasn't won yet this year.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Spencer.
Oh, yeah. But
is that really a rule?
Yeah, it's a season by season award. It's not a it's not a legacy award. It's season by season.
So the only way you can be considered for Player of the Year is you have to have a title in that current year.
You don't have to have a title, but you don't become a finalist unless you have a title.
So if I go out and I go top 5 and I make 9 out of 10 shows, I'm not going to be Player of the Year?
No.
That's the dumbest rule I've ever heard of.
Because I was just looking at it. EJ's 7 events. He's cashed 7 times. He's made $152,000, so more than everybody else. But I can't. He's not Player of the Year.
He's made every single show except one. Again, if EJ wins like the TOC or the World Championship again, he's got a better shot of winning the World Championship. They might give it to him.
He's got a 6,000 point lead on second.
Yeah. But
that's
again,
crazy.
He hasn't won. So it's kind of like when Simonson had that really good year, but he didn't win. Right? He had the most top 5 finishes in the season, but he didn't win a title. So
yeah, he made more money than anybody else, but it didn't matter.
All right. So moving on. All right. Off the top of your head, do you know recently if there's ever been a team that is not in the coaches poll top 20 that has made it to nationals?
Off my head, I would say no. I also know how those coaches polls go, like you and Jonathan were talking about. And most of them just look at the top 20 and say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. There you go. So they're not as reliable.
So do you guys come out with a poll?
So I'm with the IBMA, and we do come out with a poll. So I take those very seriously. I go through the rankings, looking at different teams. Like when Concordia was around, for example, they'd have 10 tournaments by December. So you got to take that into consideration when they're up in the top 15 versus, let's say, a Wichita State, who Concordia may be ahead of, but they only had 3 tournaments, but their 3 tournaments are 2 tier 1 wins and the leatherneck, right? So
Yeah.
I take the voting very seriously. And talking about kind of the year-end stuff with the IBMA, we do look at average differential, average team events, and then we also look at each player's individual tournament finishes. So we go through the minutia of, hey, this kid's got 4 top 5 finishes. Okay, this team did this team did that. So on the IBMA side, we take it very granularly and look at more than one data point. We look at a bunch.
Okay,
I think
fair enough.
the college Facebook, I think Frank posted kind of one of the things we look at. So that might be something good for you all to check out if you want to see that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Interestingly enough, there was a coaches poll that came out prior to nationals. Now, tell me how good or what good that poll is.
The IBMA poll, or was there an NCBCA?
No, the NCBCA.
NCBCA poll.
Oh, yeah. That one. I'm sure the NCBCA is a fine institution. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I know, again, on the IBMA side, like you look at, okay, this is what has happened since sectionals. So what you thought the top teams were, now this is what the teams were, and then post nationals there'll be another poll. Right. But the coaches poll is just basically periodically they'll set up a poll. Maybe you could get someone on to explain kind of what they do, but I have not heard anything positive about their polls.
Okay, so are you guys coming out with a poll prior to nationals?
I think we either did or already will have. Yes, before nationals, the poll will be posted because we did the All-Americans, right? So we voted on those. So those All-Americans are public now.
Okay. Where is that? Where can we find
on
that?
On the International Bowling Media Association's website and Facebook page.
Okay. Are you the only organization to select the All-Americans?
So the IBMA, we have All-Americans. Then the NCBCA has their All-Americans. Then on the women's side, you have All-Americans.
NCAA.
NCAA side, yes.
And then you have NAIA All-Americans.
Yes.
Yep.
But for USBC, like Hall of Fame regulations, it's the coaches poll, coaches All-Americans, and then our All-Americans. Right. So Riley Spear, he was in consideration, but he didn't make it out of the first round based on some of the other candidates that were there.
Okay.
Right? If he became an All-American, great. Now he's eligible for the Hall of Fame for collegiate bowling. So again, with those kind of implications, we take it very seriously.
Okay.
Instead of, just picking the name that you know the most.
This is so informative, Jonathan.
So you're a guy that works in bowling media. What were you thinking about when me and Mark were talking about the storyline ability for more of a story to be told about the coach of the year and the player of the year? Like a deeper dive into the nuts and bolts of what's actually happening on the ground level of collegiate bowling rather than just here's some numbers. Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be helpful for, again, people to understand why. In the past, it's like, okay, the big names, the Bones, the Barneses, Bonta when he was in college. And you're like, okay, I know who that is. So I guess that's who we're voting for, instead of looking at the Connor Bremans or the people at Xavier or kind of the Madonna kids who are Team USA kids who bowl tremendously. They're actually higher average than some of those people. So I think having an explanation instead of just picking a name you recognize is probably the best way to go.
I like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I did vote for your former coach as coach of the year. All right. And I did my research.
Yeah. He won coach of the year on the women's side for our conference, but it's just between him and Joey, who's at Emmanuel. So they kind of trade off every year, even though we've won conference 4 years in a row. On the men's side and 3 times on the women's side. Yeah.
He's been busy. I can understand why he couldn't make the show tonight. He wrapped up the NCAA stuff this past week and then on to nationals. So a very, very busy time. Hey, those and I went in and I looked at performances. I looked at his roster. He's got 1,000 kids in that program.
Yeah. So When I was in college, a year ago, I was head of student tours at Belmont Abbey.
Yeah.
Right. So I would take all the bowlers and the wrestlers, and Joe Woods Wiseman, who's a transfer this year, I gave him a tour, and sure enough, he's going to be representing Belmont Abbey as a singles competitor at the ISCs. So kind of worked out. We built a great culture at Belmont Abbey. So everyone wants to come here. If you want to live in the great state of North Carolina, near Charlotte, 15 minutes, great place to be.
That's cool. Great story. And to hear the background of what he has been through as a coach and what that specific player has been through from this season would be fascinating to see what the behind the scenes looks, challenges, success, all the other stuff that both the coach and the player had to go through during the season. That is what, and I'm throwing a bone out here at you. Bowling media, if you want to cover college bowling, dive into what makes a compelling story. Now, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do. I just think the reader and the college the college bowling fan would love hearing the behind the scenes stories about what these coaches and what these players have went through to get to the point that they're at during the season.
How many general bowling fans would just be enamored by just understanding a little bit about what college bowling is in the day-to-day of it?
I think we see that with the Born to Bowl series. I mean, even, it's well-produced and people are craving that behind the scenes. You see Brad and Kyle and Packy at the house do that sort of stuff. So I think the want is there. It's just that it's stuff like you guys and them who kind of fill that void, especially in the college space.
All right, there's opportunity there, Joshua.
Well,
start your own stuff. Get going.
Well,
imagine if a documentary team followed SMU and DBU around for a full season. Oh boy,
that would be entertainment right there.
I have to omit a few things probably, but that would be very entertaining and engaging, and I think would draw a lot of eyes into college bowling. I mean, we live it, so we love it and we understand it. But when I'm talking about it to either bowlers who bowl in the same league I do, or the people that come in and out of the pro shop we're always in, they're like, "Why haven't we heard about this? We want to hear more about this." And it's like, well, we give you what we can, but as we alluded to off the top of the rip, it's hard for us to have to do everything because we're already busy enough coaching, recruiting, traveling, all that good stuff. But I think we're proving it's somewhat possible. But I think there's a need for it. I think there's a want for it. And there just has to be some content provided to it. And I'm still just as shocked as you, Mark, that Wichita State and college bowling in general didn't take more of an opportunity in what Bonta did to start the season. And so I think that's just a kind of a spotlight on the issue that exists right now with college bowling.
What are they going to do? Are they going to take out an ad in, the bowling magazine for Storm and have Storm do an ad, a full page ad with Brandon Bonta?
If it was a time, it'd be now. He just won a major.
That's what I'm saying.
If there's ever a time,
So I don't know. I just think, does Wichita State really need to promote that program?
I think that's the thing right there. It's kind of like, this is what we do. So if you,
they're the greatest college bowling program in the history of college bowling.
But you have one of your former players shoot 300 at a major on his first appearance, and you just put nothing out there.
It's expected. What else? What else?
I guess you're right, but
I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Yeah.
I'd love to be in that position. My team's so good, even if one of my players wins a major, no big deal. I would
the response you get from the coaching staff when you did it?
Maybe a pat on the back.
Hey, here's a comment from Coach Hayes. He said, Bowler's Journal is doing a story on the exempt college athletes on tour this year. So
I think there's what, 3? Do 3 get exempt? Is that the number?
That's why we need the combine. We need the combine. Did you hear about my combine idea, Joshua?
Yes, I did. I liked it. I mean,
Got to have the combine.
That's one of the barriers of getting it. I just had one of this conversation with a college coach talking about the barrier to entry on the PBA Tour. And it's like, yeah, there's the money component, but are you going to bowl PTQs for 10 weeks straight? And maybe you're good enough to make it into 1 or 2 and you maybe get into the Masters, but it's really that I don't want to bowl PTQs, for 2 years before I actually make it there. So I believe
PTQ purgatory.
Yeah.
Combine. All right. Speaking of the PBA and college, I'm going to throw this up. Can you see that at all?
Yes.
Joshua.
There you go. Nice.
All right. You want to tell the people what this is? This is actually the 2022 to 2026 tab.
Yeah. So last week on the show, we had talked about kind of the average you needed to be successful at sectionals. I always say 205 will get you there. You only just have to average 205. It seems so simple, but actually looking at, all right, who got first, who got fourth, and then what they actually average, it kind of breaks down that 205, it's really, you don't even need that. If you go to that summary page, I kind of broke it down even further.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you average 205, you're going to get a 96% chance of getting to sectionals. To nationals. Now, if you told a coach, hey, all you got to average is 205, and it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be, this magnificent showing, all you got to do is that, they'll take it every single day. And I think this kind of information really helps when teams are looking at, okay, again, like Jonathan, your team, it was their first year, and that kind of daunting task of making it there. And now knowing what you need, you think if you're bowling, you got to average 220. Well, that kind of barrier to get to the next level isn't that high. So as long as you stay in the moment, each and every game, each and every frame, you can get there and cruise to it. So I think this kind of representation shows that how consistent these teams are year in and year out.
That last line in this little section right here, before 2016, no team averaging 206 was ever left out of qualifying for nationals.
Yeah. I also put in there that I liked the way I did this because to kind of go back to your bowling media stuff, I had a podcast a couple years ago called the Pin for Pin podcast where I interviewed Nick Hoagland about kind of the patterns and when he started going into college bowling. And it was that 2015, 2016 season, so about 10 years ago. And so you could see the scores actually increased once he got into that position. And especially that year was the first time that you had to bowl above 205 to get into sectionals, but now it's kind of leveled off. This year, I'd surmise that the score is going to be a little higher just because we saw it at the Masters and the US Open where there was no urethane at the Masters. So yeah. I expect that this year is probably going to be a little more high scoring.
All right. I'm not going to throw any names out there because I don't want to, but do you think that there were teams that did not make nationals because they could not use urethane in sectionals?
I would say yes, just based on the fact that 3 underdog teams made it in, and there's some pretty big names that didn't. So I would say, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yep.
All right. Let's go to the All-American and PBA connection there. You want to go through this chart?
Yeah. So we had talked about, in the last 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Who actually are college bowlers who became All-Americans that won on the PBA Tour. And sure enough, in the gold are people who have won majors, right? So from 2006 to 2026, you can see kind of the bigger names, Braden Bonta, Frankie Laval, Graham Faw. You got Kevin McCune, who won a couple years ago. Then you remember Matt Russo. But then you also have people that you may not remember bowling college, like an Andrew Anderson or a Chris Vi. So that was great to see. But then I said, all right, well, we have these people who we knew bowled really well in college and went on to be superstars. So I put in a legacy era, and that's your Ryan Simonellis, your Sean Rashes, your Bill O'Neills, and then a Rhino Page, who a lot of people kind of forget was a really good bowler, won the U.S. Open. And then
he was awesome.
Yeah, right. One of the best lefties in his era, right, in that kind of 20 teens era. So I was really impressed. And
had no idea he went to Kansas. He was a Jayhawk.
Or Mike Fagan going to St. John's.
I know.
Explains all these good teams, right? So when we go back and look and say, hey, how did Davenport get into there? Or how did Notre Dame, Ohio get in there? Well, they had Chris Vi. They had Andrew Anderson. So this kind of
makes a difference.
On top of last, And then I also put an all-snub team, right? So players who were in these power programs that weren't All-Americans, but did win major titles like Patrick Hanrahan, Jacob Buttriff, Gary Faulkner Jr., second African-American bowler to win a major on the PBA Tour. So just a little kind of nod to those who weren't All-Americans, but did win on the PBA Tour.
All right, I'm looking at your fun fact. In the 2013-2014 season, Jacob Buttriff and his teammate Ben Canfield, now current head coach of Grand Canyon University, bowled 100 games over the course of 16 tournaments, averaging above 206. This was Jacob's only collegiate bowling season. Competitively, Ben Canfield bowled a total of 354 regular season team games in his 4-year college career. Very interesting. I had no idea.
I thought Jacob had bowled in college, and when I was looking back at it, they were bowling at Arizona State, and when I saw they bowled 100 games, I was
All right, and then the final two columns on the right made a TV show but do not have a title.
That's got to get updated. Spencer Robarge.
That's right.
Needs to be updated.
Yeah.
Look at that list. There's some names on that list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all blue bloods.
Well.
All blue bloods.
Mark, does 36, is that 36? 36 total titles, 9 majors from collegiate All-Americans over the span of 20 years. Is that about what you guessed? Did you have it higher or lower than that? If somebody just asked you, hey, over the span of 20 years, collegiate All-Americans, how many titles do you think they had?
No, I had it lower.
You were close?
I had it lower. Yeah. I thought the number was right around 20. I was wrong. Drastically wrong.
Well, I think the key is you have some guys in there 6, 7 titles. You know that they added up quite a bit. So your Andrew Anderson, your Frankie, your Marshall Kents.
Yeah, he's now at 8.
But there's a lot of guys in there 1 or 2. So I could see where you might have it be less. But
I was shocked to see that Jake Peters went to Wichita State and Fresno State.
Yeah,
interesting.
Any All-American at both. That's why I'd included both of them.
That's impressive right there.
Hey, that right there, that's future collegiate Hall of Fame material right there.
That is impressive.
That's got to be a stat of all stats right there.
That's why we have him on, man.
That's right.
He's pulling out the stuff. That's really, really good. The other thing that I was surprised, I knew he had multiple titles. I did not realize that Jacob had 8 titles.
Butcher? Oh.
Yeah.
He had a really good year.
There.
But Belmont became a 10-time major champion and kind of stole player of the year from him.
Yeah. You know, Bill O'Neill, Hall of Fame. Sean Rash, Hall of Fame. Who else on this list?
Fagan would be in the Hall of Fame if he paid his money, because they had that spat. No, they had that public spat that Mike Fagan, he went on Our Friends, Sweep the Rack, and he's like, I just didn't renew my credit card.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's Hall of Fame eligible, but like he's waiting the total number of years so he can get into the Hall of Fame. But yeah.
That's hilarious. So now he is actually a proprietor in New Mexico, right? Is that right?
I think so. And well, he's a proprietor there. He did construction Simonelli did construction for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bacon's good.
Man,
The King of Swing.
That is
One of the greatest phone nicknames.
Yeah, that is great stuff right there. Really good stats. So the reason that I asked that question was over the past 51 years, or really the past 20 years, do All-Americans collegiately go on to have success most of the time on the PBA Tour? And I think the response would be, yeah, they do.
Which I find surprising, but then again, it's like, hey, what about all of these really good kids, right? The Hayden Hales of the world who are really good, but may or may not go out on tour, right? So how many more, if they were given the opportunity, Mark, to go out on tour without being in PTQ purgatory, that could increase that number?
How long have we been doing the 3 exempt players out of college?
Probably, like 2-3 years. They change the rules every year.
Because my thought on it is, okay, if you have 3 players that are going to make it exempt out of college, the likelihood is those 3 players are going to be All-Americans, right? So that kind of leans in their favor of, well, they're going to have success because, well, they're going to pull the events, right? And I think you could have a little different conversation. We're talking about Mark in the combine, and you have the ability for maybe more players who aren't All-Americans to find themselves in there through the process. Maybe it changes the way the data is spread a little bit. But if they stick with the 3 exempt players per year, very likely that those 3 players are going to be All-Americans the year that they get out. And so I think that kind of lends towards them finding more success on tour, obviously.
So who are the 3 this year? CJ? He was one of them.
Probably Spencer. CJ Spencer.
And Brandon?
Tyrell. Brandon. Yeah.
Those 3. I think I'm right on that. Was CJ
I'm verifying.
Was CJ All-American?
Yeah, I think he was.
Probably.
I know he was U.S. amateur champion. Yeah, CJ Spencer and Monta. Verified by Coach Hayes. Were all 3 of those players All-Americans? Yes.
Yep.
So there you have it.
Proves my point.
But at the same time, if you want growth and marketability from a PBA perspective, you got to have the combine.
Well, how many All-Americans do we have every year? What's the number?
Good question.
10 on the IBMA side.
So is there a reason or anything that would prevent all the All-Americans from getting exempt status?
Yeah, the PBA.
The PBA, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. If we're going in this combine idea and we're changing the game a little bit, I think that's an option as well.
Yeah.
What, to take it up to 10?
Yeah.
Mark, you want to take it to 25?
Dude, I want to disagree with that right now because here's why. What bowlers go through in the Southeast is not the same that takes place in the Northeast, or what takes place on the West Coast, or what takes place in the Southwest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this goes back to what qualifies an All-American.
Put them in a combine where for a week they are all at a level playing field, bowling on the same patterns, on the same panels, in the same environment to see who truly is going to earn their way on the PBA Tour.
Well, how about this for food for thought? We go back to the Jacob example. He bowls 100 games, 16 events, averages over 206, non-All-American, right? but he's also on the West Coast, like Arizona, on the western side of the state, not in the Midwest, not in the Southeast. So you could say, oh, well, his stats, are they the same? Are they different? I would say, like, if there's 10, they'd give more opportunity and look at kind of the breadth of their season, especially the seniors.
All right. I'm going to probably get some major dislike for this comment, but quite honestly, I really don't care. If you did have the combine, or even if you're an All-American and you are a graduating senior, all right, if you're if you're an All-American and you're only a junior, does that happen, Joshua? Can you be an All-American your junior year?
Yeah, you can.
You can?
It doesn't matter. Like if you,
okay. All right, fair enough.
If you win or something, yeah, you can.
Fair enough. If we go to a combine type model, and I know it's equal opportunity and all that and everything, but you know what? One rule I'm putting in, you have to have earned your degree to take part in the combine. You have to graduate. I'm sorry. There's no leaving school early and going and chasing your dream in the combine before you get that education. And with NIL and everything else that's going on in college sports right now, everybody wants to chase the money. Well, here's a news flash. For 50 years, there hasn't been that much money on the PBA Tour. You want to disagree with that statement? No.
We're not saying that.
I'd be on the tour right now.
All right. So let's do the student athletes a favor. And if they want to pursue that dream of being a professional bowler, let's make sure they have a degree first before they do that. Now, if you disagree with me on that, then it becomes all about the money. So forget about going to college, taking a spot with somebody that wants to earn their degree, bowling at whatever school, university, college, whatever. Give that opportunity that somebody that wants to pursue their degree, and then you run and do the PTQs and do whatever you got to do to try and earn your PBA card. But if you have that combine and you want to give people an opportunity to be a part of the tour, I'm sorry, I'm old school. I'm a believer. Get that education first, get that degree to where you have something to fall back on, and then you can move on to chasing those dreams. Is that a bad thing?
No, I agree. It's kind of like team trials, right? You can go to Team USA based on your resume, or you can go win a spot, right? This is not just one way to get to the tour, but it's one avenue. If you want to be, again, a Jacob Buttriff who bowls really good in college and said, I'm good with my 1 year and go to the tour, you can do that. But for these 10 spots or however many that we get, 10, 25, this is what you have to do. You have to be a graduating senior. And the USBC already has that information, so it wouldn't be too much.
I think anybody who, coach or mentor or whatever, anybody who really cares about the student athlete wants them to graduate, right? And that shouldn't be skewed. Like, especially, and I know, Mark, we are the same way with our programs, right? We do spend a lot of time on the academia, right? Because it's important. And so we both care a lot for our student athletes and our programs. We want them to be successful in life. And we know that primarily that's going to be found through them graduating and starting a career that they're proud of, have a lot of passion for, can make a living doing. Now, if they want to bowl, great. But we need to have the X's and O's figured out first. And so I agree with you on that standpoint, just from the statement of, I care a lot for my student athletes. I know you do too. And that's just what we're trying to preach. And so it kind of backs that side of it up.
I hope, and I can't recall watching any of the previous CBS Sports shows for the collegiate championships, whether or not they mentioned a player's GPA. Okay. I know that they haven't asked for any of that information, but I also know that they have that information because of the requirements for GPA to be eligible. I think that's one thing, being a college sport that has been totally lost with every other college sport in existence. When's the last time you heard a college broadcast talk about a student athlete's GPA? Never. They will say major. I have heard they'll say, hey, this guy's going to be a biologist or a marine biologist and stuff, but never, hey, this kid's an academic All-American or anything like that.
Well, I think that's a college sport issue in general. I think that spans across every single sport because we've gone to this.
I agree.
So the Division I basketball portal opened today.
What is there, like 3,000 players in the portal on day one?
I saw something about there were 400 or 500 athletes in there in the span of 30 minutes. Something along those lines. I think I saw a tweet of earlier. And you look at that and you might go, But for us, Mark, that are, in the college sports world, we're like, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
You heard about Tennessee's women's team, right? Their whole team's in the portal.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah. Tennessee's women's team.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, their women's basketball. Their whole team's in the portal.
that coach has to go find an entirely new team. The problem I have with that, I know we're kind of going on a tangent here, but I think it's relevant to what we're talking about. The problem you have with that is there's no program development, player development at all anymore. It's a selection. It's 1-year contracts. You're just trying to fill gaps where you can, and the problem is, and I found this out today with talking to some of our basketball staff, is a lot of times when they're making these phone calls, they want to talk to the family. They want to talk to the player. They want to talk to their parent because they want them to get an idea of who this person is, what's their character like. They're trying to build a program. Well, they call the number that's available. What do they get? Agents. Okay, and this could be a kid averaging 20 points a game, a kid averaging 6 points a game. And what do they get?
Yeah.
Agents. That's just the world we live in now in college sports. It's crazy, but it's the reality we all have to operate in now.
All right, look, I'm going to back up a minute. As I mentioned earlier on the show, yes, the last PBA telecast, there were top three finishers were all Wichita State graduates. Okay. But at the same time, I think that there is a disconnect between collegiate bowling and the PBA. You guys agree with that or disagree?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I think taking three players and putting them out on tour is a disservice to the opportunity that exists for a number of collegiate players across the nation to dip their toe in the pool because they got the backup of their degree to see if they have what it takes to be on the PBA Tour. And quite honestly, if you go from 120 entries to 160 entries, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference because that's what they did for 30 years. Give the kids an opportunity that are dialed in from an education standpoint, but also dialed in on a perspective of their ability to test the waters and see if they have the game to do what it takes and what is necessary to be on the PBA Tour. Am I wrong?
No. I do have a question, and this goes back to what we're talking about, the PBA Collegiate link.
Yeah.
What the heck did they think that PBA Collegiate TV show that they've tried for a few years is doing?
That was TV.
Let's invite 4 blue bloods out here. We need an extra telecast to put on TV.
Phil. That's all that was.
What are we doing?
That could have been something.
I mean, that was all
it could have been
TV Phil because they had X number of shows that was in the contract for Fox, and they had to fill those shows with content, and that's what they chose to do.
Yeah, but the way they did it did not help anybody.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They took 4 blue bloods. Were they going to call me and ask SNU to be on there? No, they're going to get even 4 of the top teams in the nation.
I mean, regardless who they invite, it was just a show up and bowl.
That's all.
They didn't talk about the programs. They didn't talk about collegiate bowling. They didn't talk about the program's season. It was just bowling.
I'm sure they said, "Hey, this is Wichita State, and they've won X number of times, and now it's good B-roll for TJ Rock and them who are going to make telecast, and they can use that footage." But other than that, that was something that was an opportunity missed.
Okay, here's 2 interesting comments from Coach Hayes. Others were asked, but here's the follow-up. Most didn't due to the cost. So you're telling me that they weren't going to cover it? Are you kidding me? Holy smokes,
Mark,
man.
you can't say you're surprised.
I don't know, man. That is, once again, I am definitely saying that there is a disconnect between collegiate bowling and the PBA Tour, of which they could have the greatest opportunity for collegiate bowlers across this nation to have the opportunity to bowl on tour if they would just work together and come up with a true opportunity for the players to showcase their game. obviously once they get their degree. And some people might say, hey, you're just an old, crazy old man, Mark. But I'm telling you, you've got to have that degree. And even if it's only a bachelor, so what? You may decide that you're going to go on to get your master's, because quite honestly, in today's business world and competitive marketplace, you better have that master's if you want to start making six figures.
Yeah,
that's just the realization.
Yeah.
Agreed, Joshua?
I agree. And going back to that point, why can't, I know we're just talking here, but why, kind of like what they did with the PWBA show down in Green Bay, why not just make it part of it? Let's say the Hoosier, okay, that Sunday, they're in Indiana, if the teams are already there, just bowl match play.
Oh.
Like, what? I mean, if it's about cost or anything, like the teams are
match
already
play.
there. I know.
Wow.
If the teams are already
Forbid
there,
we have match play.
right? You could just make it part of the show, saying, hey, next year at this event, whoever the top 4 teams are going to bowl on TV in a match play exhibition, and do something like that and just make it part of the collegiate season.
All right.
I agree, Mark, that collegiate bowling and the PBA have a link problem. There's no cohesion there. But I think part of the bigger issue is both of them have a major marketability problem right now. And so it's nobody's winning until something changes.
It's a great point. Great point. Now, I want you to pick a collegiate player. I don't want you to mention his name. I want you to go in, Jonathan, and look at the 2026 earnings for a collegiate player and tell me what it is. And not Spencer Robards, because we all know he got 100 grand. All right.
A collegiate player that just came out on tour. Okay.
Yeah. Over the last couple of years. Can you get there quickly?
Has or hasn't won a title?
Has not won a title. Right? We know about Spencer and Brandon.
And do you want like end of year, or can it this year count?
No, this year can count. I just want to know what a rookie who was a collegiate bowler earned, even if he had to go through the PTQs. But don't mention his name. I'm still scrolling. That's not a good sign.
Through 6 events, $9,750.
How are you going to make a living on that?
Sponsorship, kind of.
Do they know how to position themselves to potential sponsors? Has the PBA done anything to show these players how to create marketability for their game, for their company? Because that's what they are.
No.
Got any more? Got any more, Jonathan?
So I just sorted by money this year to see who's earning what.
Yeah.
What's interesting is it falls perfectly. The $40,000 mark is at 10th place right now.
Okay.
Through 7 events.
That's not a whole lot of money.
So there are, on the ranking sheets, 261 bowlers who have bowled an event on tour this year. And the top 10 have earned $40,000 or more. And here's the even scarier part. The top 50 and higher have only made $15,000 or more.
How are you going to make a living doing that?
You're covering travel expenses, right? I heard the numbers about 30 grand to be on tour. If you're, room with people and stuff, maybe you can get that number a little lower. But yeah, you're basically covering travel expenses.
Wow. Is that not eye-opening?
I know Ryan Barn, he set the rookie single season record last year, making over 100 grand, but I'd say that's more of an outlier than anything. All these rookies,
Ryan is a superstar player.
Yeah.
Anybody want to argue that with me? No.
No.
He's a superstar. He just is. And there are great players out there, but when you're talking about 10th place only earning $40,000 and 50th place only earning $9,000.
All right, I got more information. I got 2025 up. So rookies on tour last year. We're going to exclude Ethan, and Ryan. So Alec Keplinger, he was a rookie last year on tour. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I think so.
Through 17 events, he made $40,000.
Wow. And he's a great player.
Cam Crow, through 14 events, made $18,625.
Okay, that's fresh out of college.
Yeah.
He went to St. Ambrose, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
TJ Rock. He might have been second year, but anyway, very young on tour.
Yeah.
11 events, made $7,813.
Wow.
Yeah. And this year he's bowling PTQs.
Yeah.
Even more.
Yeah.
All right. Now, granted, Coach Hayes, I see your comment, and I was going to mention that. But yes, there are incentives in their ball contracts. There are incentive clauses in agreements that they might have with other companies, both endemic and non-endemic. But guys, that is no way to make a living.
But that's not adding up to that much extra money.
I agree. I agree with that. Who's investing in their 401k? Oh, wait a minute. They don't have one. How about their IRA? How about health insurance? How about rent, mortgage payment, auto insurance, car payment? There has to be a way to where there is better opportunity for college graduates. And I know I'm focusing on college graduates right now, but college graduates to earn a living being on tour.
We just need bowling. We just need some billionaire to like bowling, and all three of us.
That already went down with the whole Microsoft guys.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. And I think Bolero has a massive opportunity if they would become entrenched in how important the college game is to the livelihood of the business that they own. But here's the fallback. Why would they want to do anything when they have guys lined up to make that transition and pay that entry fee and show up and bowl?
I think Bolero views the PBA more as a marketing arm rather than.
But it's not. It's not, though. It's not. The disconnect. I mean, we could go on and on and on, and we need to cut it off. But I just think the opportunity that exists for, and I'm specifically talking about the USBC and the PBA, to come together and work together in truly identifying the true opportunity for collegiate bowlers to get that opportunity to dip their toes in the pool on the PBA Tour without having to bowl the PTQs. And my idea is to have the combine.
And have you emailed Tom Clark about it?
Come on, Mark.
Let's see. Hang on. You think I have? Hang on. I can't find it. Let's see here. Oh, I can't hear. Let me cover it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm calling him right now. I didn't mean to call him.
Just say, hey, you're live. What do you think about a college combine?
I don't know what Tom's take would be on it, because I think Tom is deeply entrenched in the love of the game, and he's very passionate about the PBA. Do you guys know how Tom Clark even became into the position that he's in?
No.
You have any idea? Tom was a beat writer for USA Today. Back, there was a newspaper, a nationwide newspaper, back pre-internet, before the whole AOL thing started, and Netscape. You remember Netscape? You ever heard of that? A browser called Netscape. He was a beat writer for USA Today that covered the PBA Tour. He was a journalist, and he became more and more entrenched in the management of the PBA and became very, very close to a lot of the players, and the players really trusted him a lot. And he was just put into the position to take over and become the commissioner of the PBA Tour. And Tom loves this game. He truly does. But I think Tom's hands are somewhat restricted because of what Bolero is trying to accomplish, whatever that is, with the PBA. All right. I think if I pushed an idea in Tom Clark's way, I think Tom would be all about it. I just think he would get dramatic pushback from his boss. And I know they have a new CEO of the PBA Tour. I think his name is what is it? Last name's Murray, I think.
Yeah, Peter Murray.
Peter Murray, smart dude, right? He's got the whole MMA background and
he comes from a sports background. Yeah.
But I'm sure he's being bombarded and he's trying to find out, what this is and the whole CW thing and everything else is going on with the PBA Tour. But there has got to be a movement toward a cohesive relationship between USBC Collegiate and the PBA Tour. Because, what are they going to do? They're going to build a relationship with the NAIA or the club championship or something like that? There's 90 NAIA schools across the nation. There's over 120 programs on the USBC side, on the men's side. Plus, a lot of the NAIA schools are involved with USBC Collegiate. Yeah. But think how much better it would be for college bowling and for the PBA Tour if you had that strong, cohesive, opportunistic relationship with the PBA. Am I wrong?
Look at the women's tour. They kind of opened their doors for that. So a lot of the collegiate women, they'll bowl the women's tour, over the summer.
Yeah.
Right. So they've kind of stepped out and taken it to that fact that they can have their athletes kind of go get that professional experience. Julian Martin, one of the biggest kind of success stories in that. So I think they're taking it the right approach.
Look, we agree with all of it. It's just what's it going to take?
Well, and that's what we're trying to do, Jonathan. We're trying to make it better, but we can't make the PBA better from a collegiate representation on getting our student athletes the opportunity that they can work hard for to try a PBA Tour season. And that's got to be handled by the USBC and the PBA. And you know what, guys? They may not want to do it. We have no interest in that.
Yeah.
It could be, and maybe it is. But at the same time, that's part of the reason that Jonathan and I are doing what we're doing to try and make things better, at least on the collegiate side, from an opportunity standpoint and from a rep standpoint, and getting singles, doubles, and Baker team competition involved in the collegiate bowling aspect to where it does serve a bigger purpose than just doing Baker and showing up. And we've talked about it for a year and a half now, but I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to mention names or anything, but I had a current player that is currently out on the PBA Tour, not having a whole lot of success. And I gave him some advice, and quite honestly, I don't think he wanted to hear what I told him, but I told him, I said, look, man, I said, here's the realization of the PBA Tour. There's about 20% of the players out there, 20 to maybe 30%, 25% of the players out there that truly have the game to win. Then you have 100% of the players out there that believe that they can chase a check and earn a check. I said, what do you want to do? Do you want to do what it takes to be in that 25 percentile to where you are chasing trophies instead of chasing checks? Or do you just want to go out there with the attitude and the representation of, man, I got to double in the 10th, because if I don't double in the 10th, I'm not going to be able to make the cut, and then I'm not going to get a check. I said, you have to prepare and dedicate yourself to chasing trophies if you want to make money. If you just want to go out there and spend money and do it halfway, then yeah, the field out there is pretty good, and you are one of those 100% people out there that believe that they can chase a check and get one. But that's not going to pay the mortgage. That's not going to pay all the other bills that adulthood brings. So you have to make a decision. Do you want to continue to chase a check, or do you want to get your game dialed in to where you're chasing trophies? Bad advice or good advice?
Good advice.
Good advice.
He said it's contributing to the pot. But most college bowlers can average 200, and we bowl on tough conditions, and we can make the cut in a PBA event. You see it a lot when it's kind of lower scoring with the U.S. Open or the Masters. You see a lot more college bowlers making it. We can make the cut. It's the winning week in and week out. That's kind of what you're talking about, Mark, saying, hey, you can go get a check, and you're going to maybe net a couple $100 for a season, but it's not a way to make a living.
Yeah. And he may not wanted to hear that answer, but it's not a secret that the best mentors or people you can have in your circle tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And so that's just, you weren't lying to him.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it for 30 plus years. Enormously talented players that either get divorced, file bankruptcy, go broke, and end up doing something that they really didn't want to do in life because they thought about the now and didn't think about the future. And I tell my players that all the time, Jonathan. You got to think about the future. It's not just about the now. What are you doing to put yourself in a position for the future? So I probably didn't want to hear that, but I think he appreciated somebody who was a third party that kind of hopefully opened up his eyes. He great player, enormously talented player, but dedication, hard work, a plan, and chasing trophies. The mindset has to be you got to chase trophies.
Exactly.
They're great players out there, and if you don't prepare yourself to chase trophies, then you're dead money. You're dead money.
Bowl of PTQ every week.
Yeah, you're dead money. So, can you tell we love this game, Joshua?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I mean,
a lot of passion in this circle here.
There really is. And, I've said this from day one that Jonathan and I started what we're starting. We're not saying anything bad about the USBC or the PBA or any other organization. We're just talking about trying to make things better for all parties involved, the student athletes, the organizations, the endemic companies that are involved in our sport. Can you imagine this sport if Storm and Brunswick and, Strike for, whatever company out there that wasn't involved, the endemics, it would be brutal.
Yeah.
They wouldn't survive. Got to pull in the non-endemics, man. We need the Toyotas. We need, what we had for a little while.
Lumber Liquidators. Bring back Lumber Liquidators. Are they still a company?
No.
Denny's was a big,
huge
part
Motel
of the tour for a while.
Motel 6.
Now it's the Go Bowling PBA. There's too much internal. We got to branch it out a little bit.
Well, you got what is the sock company? John's crazy John Socks or something. I mean, come on. You're telling me
beatbox beverages. We got dude wipes.
You're telling me that professional fishing can go out and get a Toyota and the PBA can't?
It goes back to what I was saying earlier, Mark. There's a marketability problem here.
Oh,
we're just three people who care, right? We're just.
I do. I really do, and I care for this sport, and I'm just an old dude that's been around for a long time that understands change, and that is a huge thing for people to deal with. Is they can't deal with change, and even though sometimes chain grabs something from the past and just makes it better. Just make it better. And that's what we're trying to do. So, man, I wish your coach could have joined us. He probably would have thought I was off my rocker, but I'll see him here next week.
The most I've learned about bowling wasn't on the lanes. It was those conversations in my coach's office where I should be in class, but I'm talking to him about, the US Open and how the loads on the oil pattern are doing that. He's explaining things to me. So I think kind of those kind of conversations, not just necessarily the on-lane instruction, are really crucial in college bowling. I don't know how
I'll back that up.
Yeah, 100%.
I learned more from talking to my fellow teammates and just hanging out in the dorms or hanging out in the apartments, talking about the game. And those conversations that provoke a little bit of thought helped me in a lot of ways, right? Or we were in the bowling center, but not throwing the ball, but we were watching. Exactly. And we were commenting and we're observing, and all that makes a difference.
All right, you guys will crack up at this, but there was one player, not going to mention his name. He was really struggling on his spare game, okay? And I like to keep things very simple. And when kids are struggling, when players are struggling, I use this, and I've used this more than 10 times probably, okay? And I'll walk up to a player, and I go, "What are you looking at?" And he goes, "I'm looking at 19. I go, "Seriously?" I said, "You're looking at one little board, the 19th board that is only an inch wide, okay? Maybe just a little bit bigger than a quarter. And you're trying to hit that quarter on the lane." I said, "Who do you think you are, Norm Duke? I mean, come on, man. Seriously, what's easier to hit, this or this? Do you understand the miss room when you're shooting a 10-pin? Do you really understand the physics behind the error that you can incur and still make that 10-pin? Well, what are you talking about? Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try and hit 4 boards rather than 1 board. 4 boards. You think it's easier to hit 4 boards than 1 board? Yeah, coach. You know what he did? He went 10 for 10. 10 for 10. Now, I could put a little dot about the big, about as big as a dime out there. And what? He may hit that maybe 4 out of 10 times, maybe 5.
Well, you think it's something that small, 15 feet away. It's even smaller.
I know. We're not robots.
We run into that issue a lot, too, and this can be with all spare groupings, about the angle in which they choose to shoot it, right? Yeah. And, Mark, I have a graph I'm going to have to show you, but it basically plots out the statistical likelihood of the spare based on the miss from the mathematical equation of miss room and the miss that's based on the physical equation of miss room. And these lines cross each other at a certain point. That's your optimal attack for spare shooting. So I have this whole systematic thing. Now, it's still up to the player to execute what we're trying to teach, but
absolutely,
I give them the answers mathematically, at least.
All right. It has nothing to do with axis tilt and rotation. I mean, you're killing the ball, throwing a plastic ball. Hit the area. If you hit that area anywhere in that 4-board area, you know what's going to happen? You're going to spare. You're going to pick up the 10-pin.
If you've ever drawn a triangle, you can figure it out.
Yeah. Did you guys ever hold the pin and say, "Hey, you got a ball's length here, the pin, and a ball's length. You got all this room"?
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
okay. Now
I think it's 13 1/4 inches actually.
Something like that.
So yeah,
right.
I have this all graphed out. By the way.
Hey, did I tell you, Jonathan, what I did? So we have a center where we can put it on shadow. You know what shadow is, Joshua?
Yeah, no pins.
All right, no pins. So I went to Walmart and I bought a noodle. You know what a noodle is?
Like
a swim noodle? One of those styrofoam swim noodles. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went down to lane 16, which was the last lane, and I put it down where the 10-pin would be, and I taped it around the rack, and all they did was shoot at the noodle. All right, because we have old 8270s. You can't go in and program and all that and everything. So,
I can just spot whatever pin I want at any time.
Well, you're in the laps of luxury there, my friend.
All right. You're buying pool noodles.
No.
You say this is the best facility in the country. This is it.
Yeah, why can't you get any players? I don't understand. Great campus, absolutely beautiful campus. I've been there.
Yeah, I gave Mark a tour not that long ago.
I witnessed it. Just an amazing campus, and probably one of the best, if not the best, practice facility in the nation. So there you have it.
Work in progress.
And one of the best young coaches in the nation too. So, hey, you're building, and I got to give you major props for the advances and advancement that you made with your program over the last 2 years. It's an amazing friendship and relationship that our two programs work together, and you should be proud of making sectionals. It doesn't matter where you finished. It's the experience that you gained from that event, you and your players, that next year, all right, it's going to be different, man. It's going to be different, and you're going to learn from that experience that was gained in Fort Worth that weekend. And by the way, go to McDonald's. It works. Okay.
Apparently.
It's the
What was
secret.
the order? What was on the menu? Anything?
Anything.
Or did you limit? No, anything.
No, anything. What do you
Did
think?
you use the app to order? Did you use some deals? They have some good deals
No,
on the app.
because the dude that works at this specific McDonald's, we get a tax break. He goes ahead and gives us the tax-free rate because I have my tax ID, and I don't have to pay for mine.
Right,
He
because
gives me
coaches
mine
get a free meal with the team.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
So I didn't know they still did that. They do. They still honor
yeah.
that promotion. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think the number one? I can remember this because I mean we've done it the last 2 years. The meal of choice. It wasn't a burger.
I'm gonna say the 20 nugget meal.
There you have it.
Oh,
There it is.
There it is.
Can't go wrong with
Joshua
chicken
knows.
nuggets.
20 nuggets.
Yeah.
So it was try it out next year. Maybe it'll work, Jonathan.
All right.
Secret sauce.
Putting that in the notebook.
All
Adding
right.
that to the notebook.
Joshua, any stats or any thoughts or anything you want to throw out there going into championship week next week?
I would just say that there's going to be some shocking results. Not only with, again, there's not going to be urethane, right? So my guess, it's probably going to be like 40, 41 feet flooded. And just because everyone's going to be using a lot of ASIMs. So that's what I would say. It's going to play similar to the Masters. It's going to be high scoring. So that's my prediction. I'm locking in.
Okay. Is Hoagland doing the pattern?
Yes.
Okay. Will there be a speed bump?
I would surmise, yeah.
Will there
He's
be
gonna be
multiple
something.
speed bumps?
Yeah.
You might even write his initials in it. Some of these. Quick story. So I was looking at an interview with Darren Tang, and he was talking about when he was bowling on the single show when he was in college, and he asked Nick Hogan about the pattern, and Nick had told him, "Yeah, there wasn't actually a right way to bowl the pattern. You just had to kind of do it." And you're like, "Oh, okay." So sometimes there's no rhyme, reason, or anything that kind of goes in. It's just difficult. So yeah,
Interesting.
be prepared.
All right, man. Hey, you rock, Josh. Well, we will definitely have you on. We'll do one more show after Nationals. I don't know when we'll do it because you know why, Jonathan? No matter what happens, that Wednesday or that Tuesday when I get back, where do you think I'll be?
Fishing.
Lake
You'll be on the-
Texoma, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty easy guess. He
Me
didn't
and
have
Jack,
his field on
yeah.
that one.
Me and Jack will be on Lake Texoma. So we will have you on definitely our wrap-up show and get your take on everything that goes down in Green Bay. But thank you so much for the stats. Great stuff. And I know Jonathan and I both appreciate your contributions to the conversation tonight.
Yeah, always happy to come on. Again, Mark, congrats on a really good season. Hopefully you do well. Jonathan, still waiting on that graduate assistantship, but hopefully I'm sure you'll get back to me. But I just really appreciate
forgot about it.
both of you, taking the time and letting me come on the show. The first two-time guest, I might add.
Yeah.
First
That's
two-time
right.
guest. So
That's right.
That's good. Well,
That's
it's
big
going to be
time.
more than twice. Believe me. I mean,
That's big time.
you're going to be a fixture of this show. All right. And good luck to your Belmont Abbey squad that will make their first appearance in nationals along with us. And I'm trying to remember, was that through Smyrna?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be practicing together. Fort Worth and Smyrna
you can go
are
talk
together.
to Coach and say, hey.
Let him know that. He probably already knows. He did send me an email.
Okay.
Right. But thanks for everything, Josh.
No problem. Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Thanks, man.
That's good stuff right there, Jonathan.
It's we like having a little bit of structure on the show sometimes, right? We want to cover certain topics, but I love when we can get somebody like Joshua in here and just talk shop. It's just we're letting the passion fuel the conversation, bouncing around the different subjects, speaking what's on our hearts, what's on our minds. And I think that's what's important here because it makes a difference.
Good show, man. Really, really glad to be back. I missed this. Obviously, the fact that I've done this type of stuff for over 25 plus years on the fishing side. But I really don't think that anybody out there is not going to see the passion and how much we care about this game. And there was actually a comment from, I don't know, did you see that one?
I did see that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure who that is. Do you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
It's Jonathan and Mark. I do not know anything about bowling, but I respect you for promoting the game and providing post-secondary opportunities for the student athletes. All the best.
That's what it's about right there.
Yep. Right here. We didn't just read that. That was actually posted.
Yeah, Mark didn't make that up.
No. That's too good. I couldn't make something up that good.
That's right.
All right, man. So
good luck to you in Green Bay. We're going to be cheering you on. I appreciate your positive sentiment about our program, your kind words. You've seen it up close, so you've kind of seen the growth we had. I can say the same about your program. The fact that we kind of, with our matches, we kind of got to see progression throughout the year with each other, and I think that was cool. But I think it's also cool I can go back to my team and say, hey, we went head-to-head with a squad who's made it, so we're capable of it. So a little extra motivation there. I do have an announcement that's CBA related. And I didn't tell you this before the show, but are you ready?
Okay.
We're not done for matches this year.
What?
We've got
the
OSU,
fishing match.
OSU's coming to town to bowl us.
What?
Okay, so we're not done bowling. Yeah, we're not done with matches. We want to show this off one more time.
Okay.
OSU's going to come down. We're working on a date right now, so we'll let everybody know when we get that figured out. We have to get redemption because our baseball team couldn't beat them. So bowling's got it. All right, we'll take out the Oklahoma State Cowboys. No problem. I know you as a Sooner wouldn't mind that either. We're not going to talk about what your Sooners did to DBU baseball last night. We'll leave that one.
Victory.
But we did not win that ball game. But that's coming up, so we'll put out a date as soon as we have that completed, and we'll obviously put links out to watch that.
Hey, we've got the fishing thing going on too. DBU versus SNU.
We got to wait for you guys to go win a national championship first, though.
How cool would that be? I can't imagine how cool that would be.
We would be celebrating just as hard in Dallas as you guys would be.
Jack and I would probably not make it to the lake on Tuesday.
If you guys made the TV show, we'd find a way to fly most of our squad up there. We'd figure it out.
Oh, that's motivation right there.
Yeah.
It's only for you. It's only 17 hours to drive. I'm
flying to Milwaukee and driving the 2 hours.
No, just put Mike behind the wheel. Get after it. Come on up.
No, we have drivers at DBU. I can hire one out.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
Very good. All right. That's going to be
no show next week.
No show next week.
You'll be busy.
Yeah,
we'll
have the postseason wrap up and talk about. Hopefully, we'll have some little teasers that we can throw out there. What is coming for the CBAA in 2026, 2027. So we're working on some really cool stuff. Until then, hopefully you will see me and my team on CBS Sports. You know why? Because nobody wants to lose to the no name.
That's right.
We'll see what happens. All right, man. Be safe, Jonathan. Thank
right.
you. As always, great show. And that's it. We're out of here.